All right, once again, live from Hack Studios in Tucson, Arizona. This is the Citizen Soldier Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Scott Ryan Paulson, the Rooster of Tucson. And tonight, we're ripping the lid off conversations everybody out there is too damn scared to have out loud. And you feel it, I feel it, and every real Tucsonian out there who's been here long enough feels it in their bones. And this city right here is being hollowed out from the inside, my friends. Not struggling, not going through a rough patch. It is hollowed out. You see it driving through neighborhoods that used to have a soul, and used to have life there. Now it's like the zombie apocalypse everywhere you look. It's exhausting. Everything's boarded up and bleeding. And you see it out there in the public, in the eyes of the people who are grinding, 2 or 3 jobs a day, just to watch this city rot around them. And you see it every time another fentanyl overdose gets a 10-second mention before they move on to the next distraction. And the worst part, too many people have started accepting this garbage as a normal way of life. And that right there is how you lose everything. Once collapse becomes, oh, just how it is, man, or, the crooks, the cartels, and the spineless politicians, the shitty mayor, don't even have to hide it anymore. They operate right out in the open. I'm seeing it every single day. The corruption, incompetence, criminal money, political weakness, and a leadership class that gives zero shits about the actual people living in this nightmare. The working men and women see it. The veterans see it. The people at the town hall meetings banging their fist on the table see it. But the second you say it out loud, they attack you. They try to smear you and call you extreme because their whole game depends on controlling what you're allowed to see and say. Well, I've been done with it, people. I don't know about you, but Tucson is getting crushed. The drug trafficking, the human trafficking, property crime exploding, violent crimes happening every day. The homelessness is just out of control, and the entire neighborhood's changing overnight while these political machines keep spitting out the same tired bullshit about progress. The cartels don't need tanks rolling down Speedway anymore. That's all movie bullshit. They're smarter than that. They're in the UPS trucks, your mail delivery. They slide in through the businesses, real estate. The image-obsessed politicians out there who care more about looking good, mayor, than protecting the city. They thrive on silence, normalization, and a population too tired and distracted to even push back. And right now, Tucson feels like it's sliding exactly where they want it to be. So let me ask you the question that's been burning in my eyes and my gut. Who the hell is actually protecting this city? Because from where I'm standing, it damn sure doesn't look like our so-called leaders are even in control. It looks weak, reactive, straight disconnected, and the weakness invites these predators. And I'm pretty sure they're getting the mayor's invitations to set up shop as long as she's getting her 10% cut. And it just goes to show people. Strong cities attract good people and investment. Weak cities attract parasites, corruption. And they're already feeding this. Everywhere you look, it's the same thing on the streets. Fentanyl use, homelessness. This episode isn't about spreading fear. It's about pissing you off enough to do something about it. Because awareness without action is worthless. I want you to get pissed. Then I want you to get purposeful, okay? So start in your own neighborhood. Talk to your neighbors. Watch what's happening on your block out there. Support the local businesses that actually give a shit. Strengthen your family. Refuse to let the decay become normal on your street, okay? That's what a citizen soldier does, people. We reject passivity. We reject exhaustion. We reject this slow motion surrender. And yeah, a lot of us are tired, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and I get it, people. But tiredness is not an excuse to hand your city over to criminals and clowns. This fight is still winnable, people, but only if we stop waiting for someone else to save us. Because Tucson belongs to the people who live here, not the corrupt politicians, not the cartels. And like I said, everywhere you look out there, it's just becoming more of a rotting cesspool. And we have to take it back by getting harder, smarter, and more organized, and more relentless. We have to demand accountability, and we have to keep putting on that pressure, people. We have to rebuild from the ground up, block by block and neighborhood by neighborhood. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it, people. Tucson is hurting bad, and a lot of people feel abandoned out there, but I still believe we can turn this around if we stop lying to ourselves, thinking that votes are going to change anything, and start acting like we actually own this place, because we do. We're the taxpayers. These people work for us. So get your mind right, people. Get angry and then get to work. Once again, this is Scott Ryan Paulson, the Rooster of Tucson, live from Hack Studios in Tucson, Arizona. And you've been listening to the Citizen Soldier Podcast. Eyes open, people. Mind sharp and back straight. And never, ever let corruption become normal. Over and out.